How's it going, everybody? This is Dominic Minchella. I am the Kansas City Chiefs co-beat writer for On SI and the host of the Kansas City Chiefs Insider Podcast. Thank you guys so much for stopping in today. As we have some developing news from head coach Andy Reid on this Wednesday afternoon, that there's some trouble with the Chiefs' offensive line. As we know, Jawaan Taylor, he got removed from the Dallas Cowboys Thanksgiving Day battle with an injury similar to Josh Simmons. He also went down. Trey Smith had been removed a week prior, and he did not play against the Dallas Cowboys. So those are kind of the things that we're going to be talking about today. It has been said that that Josh Simmons is headed to the injury reserve with surgery on his wrist and what he hurt. So it depends on how that is going to work out. But considering those who have played today or practiced today, the Chiefs' offensive line going into Week 14 against the Houston Texans is not ideal for what the Chiefs are trying to accomplish. Now, the Chiefs have to win out if they have any hope of making the playoffs. They hold a 6-6 record going into Week 14 against the Texans. The AFC West is really out of the conversation because they sit in third, and the Denver Broncos and the Los Angeles Chargers will probably go to a dogfight with who is the division champions. So it was a good run for Kansas City to win it 9 years in a row. But at that point, in this point now, there's no way or no point to look into winning the division unless the gods of football bless the Kansas City Chiefs with the Denver Broncos and the Los Angeles Chargers losing every single game left. And even then, Kansas City would have to win. But the offensive line going into Week 14 looks tentatively such as Wanya Morris at left tackle, Kingsley Suamataia, Creed Humphrey, Mike Caliendo, and Jalen Moore, just based off of what we're seeing. And I don't know about you, but when I read that off, and if that is the offensive line that the Chiefs roll out, I think that there should be some concern because of those players. Kingsley Suamataia and Creed Humphrey are the ones who were typically in the starting offensive line rotation. Creed Humphrey has been phenomenal. I've said it multiple times. If you've missed anything about me talking about Creed Humphrey, he is the cream of the crop. He is the best center in the National Football League, and I will say that over and over again until everybody believes it. Kingsley Suamataia has seen his ups and downs this season, but he has started to get things together. While there is still some concern around his game, it is something that, when you're looking at the offensive line and the starting offensive line going into the Texans game, you feel comfortable seeing him out there. Mike Caliendo was competing with Kingsley Suamataia earlier this offseason in becoming a starter. Didn't necessarily work out for him, but he has been serviceable. Jalen Moore was brought in with the highest expensive free agent contract signing this year for the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's also been kind of serviceable from the fact that he got beat out by Josh Simmons in making the starting offensive line, that he's been very serviceable going into games where he has to make a replacement, or if he's just starting it. Wanya Morris, he's kind of like the oddball out at the left tackle position, and I think that this is an offensive line that the Kansas City Chiefs will likely roll out, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be the best for the art of winning. I will just say out loud that if anyone isn't already aware, Patrick Mahomes has been sacked 3 or more times in, I believe, 5 straight games. And it has been something where it is kind of resembling of what we saw last season for the Kansas City Chiefs. The offensive line can't really hold its own, and when Patrick Mahomes is under pressure, those big throws that you need and the time that he spends looking downfield gets limited, so then your opportunities get limited. In 5 straight games, 3 or more. The worst was against the Indianapolis Colts, and even they won that game. But of those 5 games, him getting sacked and him having trouble with the offensive line has resulted in 3 losses in those 5 games. So the offensive line, while they did go out this offseason to make adjustments in bringing in a guy like Josh Simmons, who was dealing with an injury and still took a risk on him. This is kind of like the outcome that wasn't out of the ordinary, but it is a little troublesome seeing that he was removed due to another injury. This one, because obviously he fell to almost out of the first round because of a knee injury suffered with the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now his wrist is hurt. You've got Trey Smith, who you just extended to be that big guy, and he's been dealing with some injury this year. Creed Humphrey and Kingsley Suamataia, they've been really consistent. However, even when you are throwing out the guys that you see and feel most confident in, Patrick Mahomes has still been sacked 27 times this season. And if you look at his statistics, he is already on pace to likely pass his 36 quarterback sacks taken that he set last season. This is the second time in his career where he's surpassed, well, actually, not even that. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth time that Patrick Mahomes has been sacked 27 or 20 or more times, 26 or more times in his career. 26 times in 2018, 28 times in 2021, 26 times in 2022, 27 times in 2023, 36 times in 2024, and this year is 2025, and he's been sacked 27 times. And keep in mind, those were his career numbers for the entire season. The season still got 5 games, and if we have seen any trend that is happening, is that Patrick Mahomes is likely to get sacked around 3 times in these games. That is not how you're going to be able to win. When I look at the Chiefs' offensive line going into this game, I am expecting it to be ready. If they aren't ready, I wouldn't be so surprised to see if that is the reasoning as to why those big drives where momentum is building gets halted, whether it be holding calls, penalties, or the fact of just not being able to protect the Patrick Mahomes quarterback, that being able to make plays happen. Not saying that it's not possible for them to win. In fact, I will say that I am predicting that the Kansas City Chiefs will win this game just based off past history and the weight of the world being on their shoulders. But if the best case that they have is those 5 men going out there to defend Patrick Mahomes and make sure that he stands upright, then you better hope that right from the get-go things are laid out, they are focused, they are ready, and you got to hope that the Houston Texans defense, who has a very good edge rusher, doesn't get to Patrick Mahomes. That's the best way you're going to win this game, and I think that when looking at things, if going into the playoffs hunt, if they do win this game, you've got to really hope that you get some of those pieces back. While it is coming out today, this podcast, who knows if Trey Smith will be ready to go. He is still likely or up in the air, so things aren't definitive. But if the tentative offensive line is Wanya Morris, Kingsley Suamataia, Creed Humphrey, Mike Caliendo, and Jalen Moore, they've got some work to do. With that being said, though, folks, be sure you follow me over on X at Dom Minchella. Post and repost every single day. You're not going to want to miss any coverage of the Kansas City Chiefs while we go into Week 14 and the rest of the regular season. You can also follow us over at KC Chiefs on SI over on X and Facebook in order for you to not miss any coverage of the franchise going into the rest of the stretch and hopefully finding their way into the playoffs. That being said, as always, be kind to one another. I'll see you tomorrow.